everyone! We are Team Supreme Minors Researchers.
And we are the researchers, Mark Anthony Reyes,
Michelle Loredo,
Ira Laxandile,
Erica Jane Emra,
Gabriel Balagtas,
and Vince Bernard Rios.
And we are from BPED 3. Before anything else, we would like to acknowledge the presence of the following persons who have given their support for the success of this study.
to our research advisor, Sir Aldrin Talanya, for his support, advice, encouragement, comments, and suggestions that made possible the completion of this study.
To Ma'am Mary Angeli S. Kabakungan, we are really appreciated her expertise to do the topic. Her thoughts serve as guide and the suggestions which challenge us, the researchers, to be more creative and positive in all aspects.
To our research critic, Dr. Walter Salva, for his never-ending support, enthusiasm, knowledge, and exacting attention to detail by details of the paper that kept the study on track and fulfillment of the study. Really appreciated.
And to our set of panelists, Dr. Cheryl Ignacio, the chairperson, Ma'am Lorraine Baligat, and Ma'am Mary Joyce Ann Payawal, for their constructive criticism and fruitful suggestion for the betterment of our study.
Once again, we are Team Supreme Minors Researchers from BPED 3.
Our research study was entitled Social Determinants of Physical Inactivity, a Basis for Social Intervention. We believe that health is not valued until sickness comes. More active people for a healthier world. Globally, physical inactivity is the fourth greatest risk factors for mortality, attributed to approximately 4 to 5 million deaths that could have been prevented if this issue regarding physical inactivity has given a emphasis and given a solution. Physical activity delivers a lot of benefits for everyone, including the expansion of social behavior, of prevention, and treatment of non-communicable diseases such as heart disease, strokes, diabetes, breast, and colon cancer. A poor participation of physical activity is influenced by multiple factors, and one of these is the social environmental factors. Social environment shapes how we live, especially on how individuals are affected by such factors. Physical inactivity remains a concern throughout the world until now. Specifically, we are now living in the environment that surrounds by different variants of viruses, like COVID-19 that was characterized as a murderous disease that attacked humans' internal organs. In our almost 22 years on Earth, we have encountered a lot of potential factors that causes physical inactivity, and the average of those factors are from social determinants. A lot of us might thinking that this issue isn't something that we should put emphasis on. But let me tell you this, in behalf of my research team, a world couldn't live in peace with such a low quality of living. Later on, you will be enlightened by the root of this quotation that we strongly believe in. As you will hear our findings in the last minute of this video, that we holistically depend on the secondary data that we have potentially and patiently analyzed and filtered. Next part, we have the statement of the problem. This research aims to determine the social determinants of physical inactivity in order to identify the corresponding factors which will serve as a basis for social intervention and suggest recommendation. Specifically, this study sought to find answer to the following questions. First, how may the social factors of physical inactivity caused by social intervention be described in terms of 1.1 Socio-demographic profile, 1.1.1 age, 1.1.2 sex. Second, how much of physical activity is recommended for different age groups and specific population groups. Third, how may COVID-19 affect the increase of determinants of physical inactivity towards social intervention? And lastly, number 4, what action plan may be developed based on the findings of the study? Let us now have the significance of the study. This study will be significant to the following. First, the school. This study may be used as a reference for further development of physical education program. Second, features. This study will provide relevant references and information for teachers who teach physical education and social studies. Another, the students. The result of the study may assist students who are taking physical education as their major, and this may also serve as the reference in doing research. And lastly, to the future researchers. This study may serve as their aspirations in doing and improving their current research study, and its results may assist them in knowing what other areas they should improve. Once again, I am Mark Anthony Reyes, your Supreme Minors Leader.
Chapter 4: Presentation, Analysis, and Interpretation of Data. Table 1: Prevalence of insufficient physical activities in adolescents. More than 80% of school-going adolescents aged 11 to 17 years did not meet the current recommendation for daily physical activities, compromising their current and future health. Between 2001 and 2016, prevalence decreased by 0.93 percentage from the total percentage of 86.53% to 85.6%. The prevalence of insufficient physical activities among adolescents decreased in particular countries including Singapore by 4.9%, Thailand by 4%, Laos by 1.6%, Brunei by 0.7%, Vietnam by 0.6%, Malaysia by 0.5%. However, the prevalence increased in Philippines by 1.4%, Cambodia by 1.3%, and Indonesia by 0.3%, while Myanmar has no difference. Philippines has the country with the highest prevalence of insufficient physical activities among adolescents. Table 2: Prevalence of insufficient physical activities by sex. According to the recent report on worldwide trends in insufficient physical activities has shown that across all regions, female was less active than male, with significant differences between sexes. Globally, across different groups and regions, and in nearly all countries analyzed, girls were less active than boys and the prevalence of female insufficient activities. Between 2001 and 2016, the prevalence insufficient physical activities among female decreased by 1.9 percentage from the total percentage of 83.31% to 81.4%. In female, the prevalence increased by 0.07 percentage from the total percentage of 89.84% to 89.91%. In male, prevalence of insufficient physical activities from 2001 to 2016 has decreased by 8% in Singapore, 7.6% in Thailand, 3.5% in Laos, 1.9% in Malaysia, 1.2% in Vietnam, 0.2% in Myanmar, and 1.6% in Brunei. Perhaps the prevalence of insufficient physical activities on the other countries has increased by 2.6% in Philippines, 2% in Cambodia, and 0.3% in Indonesia. Likewise, in female, there are countries that decreased the prevalence of insufficient physical activities from 2001 to 2016, including Singapore with a decrease of 1.8% and in Thailand with a percentage of 0.3%. However, most of the countries in given data has shown increasing physical activities, including with the increase of 0.5% in Brunei, 0.5% in Cambodia, 0.5% in Laos, 0.4% in Myanmar, 0.3% in Malaysia, and 0.3% in Vietnam, 0.2% in Indonesia, and 0.0% in Philippines. The data has shown that the Philippines was the country with the highest prevalence of insufficient physical activities among male and female. Gabriel Balagtas, Supreme Minors Member. Table 2. Prevalence of insufficient physical activities by sex. According to the recent report on worldwide trends in insufficient physical activities has shown that across all regions, female was less active than male, with significant differences between sexes. Globally across different groups and regions and in nearly all countries analyzed, girls were less active than boys and the prevalence of female insufficient activities. Between 2001 and 2016, the prevalence insufficient physical activities among female decreased by 1.9% from the total percentage of 83.31% to 81.4%. In female, the prevalence increased by 0.07% from the total percentage of 89.84% to 89.91%. In male, prevalence of insufficient physical activities from 2001 to 2016 has decreased by 8% in Singapore, 7.6% in Thailand, 3.5% in Laos, 1.9% in Malaysia, 1.2% in Vietnam, 0.2% in Myanmar, and 1.6% in Brunei. Perhaps the prevalence of insufficient physical activities on the other countries has increased by 2.6% in Philippines, 2% in Cambodia, and 0.3% in Indonesia. Likewise, in female, there are countries that decreased the prevalence of insufficient physical activities from 2001 to 2016, including Singapore with a decrease of 1.8% and in Thailand with a percentage of 0.3%. However, most of the countries in given data has shown increasing physical activities, including with the increase of 0.5% in Brunei, 0.5% in Cambodia, 0.5% in Laos, 0.4% in Myanmar, 0.3% in Malaysia, and 0.3% in Vietnam, 0.2% in Indonesia, and 0.0% in Philippines. The data has shown that the Philippines was the country with the highest prevalence of insufficient physical activities among male and female. Gabriel Balagtas, Supreme Minors Member.
Because of the differences, the recommended physical activity for each groups are also affected. Therefore, we have here the recommended depending on age groups and specific population. ASEAN countries took advantage of the opportunity to develop a program that can assist individuals in a specific country in improving their health by participating in physical activities suggested by the government. These activities can assist an individual in reducing and avoiding physical inactivity in one's health. Most associations of Southeast Asian nations, or ASEAN, continued to struggle with physical inactivity. However, the government recommended programs that help individuals to make positive changes and reduce physical inactivity. Through the concept of data mining, we have gathered different data in accordance to the demand of the study. In Malaysia, they encourage people to engage in physical activity. The Ministry of Health has launched a number of campaigns and programs. They provide the general public with weekly exercise sessions and exercise consultation. It is also recommended in other ASEAN countries, including Singapore. The HBPPA guidelines recommend a 30 minutes of physical activity per day for 5 or more days in a week. This program can help individuals to lessen the physical inactivity. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, they noted that having a leisure time can make lessen the physical inactivity of individuals. Moreover, the Minister of Brunei urged the public to engage in physical activities for 30 minutes or 150 minutes per week in order to lead a healthy lifestyle. They are likely the same with Thailand, wherein the country's Prime Minister, General Prayut Chan-o-cha, launched a weekly program on every Wednesdays to engage in 1 hour of physical activities at work. And lastly, in the Philippines, the Sun Life recently launched Sun Fit and Well. It is a new generation wellness product that offers comprehensive life and health protection to every individual in the Philippines. And again, I am Erica Jane M. Ramos, Supreme Minors Member.
How may COVID affect the increase of determinants of physical inactivity towards social intervention? Through the concept of data mining, we have gathered different data in accordance to the demand of the study. In the Philippines, due to the implementation of quarantine classifications, many individuals, including elderly, adults, youths, and adolescents, experience limited outdoor activities such as going to schools, markets, churches, and playing grounds or facilities where they can do and participate in physical activities. It also happened in some ASEAN regions, including Malaysia, where doing physical activity got limited because people there, especially adolescents, got stuck to their houses where they had nothing to do but to sleep and eat. And as a result, by that age, they got overweight, which was mainly because of unhealthy lifestyle. What's more, in Vietnam, where exercise patterns changed a lot during the quarantine period, especially for Vietnamese students, their exercise patterns based on the Ministry of Education and Training and Ministry of Health have been warning that their students to do exercise daily to improve their health situations during that time. The same experience in Brunei with no extracurricular activity or outdoor activities where they cancel it due to the pandemic situation. Moreover, in Thailand, they experience a low rate of individuals' participation in physical activities, especially young adults and adolescents, where participation in moderate to vigorous physical activity or MBPA decreased from 74.6% in surveillance of physical activity during 2019 or pre-pandemic to 54.7% in SPA or surveillance on physical activity during 2020 or pandemic period. Unlike in Singapore, where the pandemic had no effect at all on physical activities such as exercise, the Health Promotion Board or HPB organized a step challenge in which Singaporean people could participate and enjoy the event. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, it is seen that socio-behavioral adaptation during the COVID-19 pandemic are the ones that have significantly given effect to adolescents' lifestyle. And also, based on Indonesian manners perspective, that social behavior is really the reason why participation or participating in physical activity and sedentary behavior of young adults and adolescents change a lot. Furthermore, in Laos, students, workers, and ordinary individuals change their travel behavior patterns because of the aforementioned situation. So, students, workers, and ordinary individuals tend to just ride in their own private cars. As a result, physical inactivity arises because instead of taking a walk or cycling, they just tend to ride by their own cars. The same with the remaining countries, which are Cambodia and Myanmar, where physical activity among adolescents since the start of the pandemic has been decreasing for similar reasons, like closing gyms, parks, community centers, and other public places to perform outdoor recreational activities apart from basic walking, hiking, and gardening were reduced due to the situation. So Cambodia and Myanmar people, especially adolescents, changed their perceptions and recreational behavior, health recovery in nature, and outdoor activities. However, the government, educational institutions, and some private sectors conducted programs regarding how physical activity can still be active even in the midst of the pandemic. Just like in the Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, Laos, Brunei, these countries' governments, some researchers, and even educators impose and establish initiatives, courses, materials, strategies, and policies to implement physical activity for all people of all ages. Another in Thailand, Cambodia, and Myanmar, their health organization, together with the help of their officials, conducted promotional messages regarding the advancement of physical activity. So they also imposed a webinar and home campaign to promote physical activity for everyone. While in Singapore, the private sector initiated an activity named Step Challenge, where everyone can participate and enjoy that said challenge. So lastly, in Indonesia, due to the physical activity and sedentary behavior, it's more on parents' motivation for their kids, especially at adolescent ages. So again, I'm Michelle Siloredo, Supreme Miners member.
Purpose Action Plan. The aim of the physical activity plan is to increase physical activity levels across the whole population. It aims to create a society which facilitates people, whether at home, at work, or at play, to lead an active way of life. Public awareness, education, and communication. Program. Raise awareness among schools of opportunities to educate through physical activity. Objectives. Increase knowledge among the public and all other relevant stakeholders of the benefits of physical activity and how to be active. Output. It is essential that efforts to increase wider public awareness are complemented by a range of other education and communication measures. Sport and physical activity in the community. Program. It will continue to support the community sports and extend existing and developing programs for physical activity. Objectives: to provide an opportunity to utilize existing and developing programs for physical activity for the people of the community to enhance the deliver a comprehensive health and effective program. Output: the program will address barriers to participation and encourage access by those who experience disadvantage for any reason. Implementation through partnership. Program. Implementation through partnership encouragement is given to development new partnerships working together to generate better results of physical activity. Objectives: to help people become more physically active, and output: it promotes physical activity through the help of groups and individuals including health professionals and academic sectors. Accountability mechanisms are also established to ensure the resources are used in the best way to physical activity to benefit the community. The proposed plan of action is based on the secondary data, meticulous analysis, and interpretation were done. Once again, Supreme Minors Member Rios Vince Bernard C.
We are now down to our Chapter 5, Summary of Findings, Conclusions, and Recommendations. First, let's start with Summary of Findings. After the data have been gathered and interpreted using the various legitimate online sources, the findings of the study were identified and summarized. First, adolescents ranging from age 11 to 17 are more physically active than the other particular age groups. Second, in terms of gender, women are found less active than men. 3. The recommended physical activity per age groups are different from each other because of the difference in terms of capability and energy of each age groups. Fourth, due to the occurrence of the COVID-19 pandemic, the physical activity of every individual is widely affected. And lastly, social engagement is also considered as one of the determinants and factors of being less physical active. That's all for the summary of findings of this study. Up next is the conclusions and recommendation to be given by Ms. Ira Lacasendile.
Adolescents influence many health behaviors, according to this research. However, this study also addresses how people can avoid or reduce physical inactivity. As the result of the study, the researchers therefore conclude that the age gap of adolescents ranging 11 to 17 years old from other age groups 16 below and 18 above is a major factor why adolescents are more active, because that is the stage of human's life wherein they experience a lot of opportunities to join different social, recreational activities, such as school activities and peer involvement. Based on the gathered data about gender, women are less active than men because it is said that there are more opportunities given to men than women in terms of physical activities because they are more active and aggressive compared to women. According to the secondary data, it seems a failure to accumulate at least 150 minutes of moderate physical activity or 75 minutes of vigorous physical activity, or either the combination of both intensities per week in general findings. However, they have this recommended physical activity per age groups that corresponds with the amount of their physical capability. The physical inactivity of an individual are wildly affected by COVID-19 pandemic because of the implementation of health protocols all over the world, wherein the safety measurements brings our world upside down. Lastly, based on the following secondary data that we have presented in the previous chapter, we have come up to the possible actions to be done as a solution for lack of physical inactivity. The first program we propose is public awareness, which aims to inspire and encourage the population to adopt an active lifestyle and enhance understanding of the benefits of physical activity in our life. Based on the findings and conclusions, we, the researchers, presented the following recommendations and suggestions. First one, the ASEAN schools should give equal opportunity to both sexes. Second one, to reduce diseases, the community and educational institution should maximize the participation of women in physical development. For the third one, students must be aware of their health issues that can be catered by the curriculum in physical education. Lastly, continue following the health protocols as for the COVID virus exists, and still the school must provide a physical education program for the students. Supreme Minors Member, Ira G. Lacasandile.
Once again, we are Team Supreme